Are you blessed? If you're not blessed, then you need to get your mind right and get blessed. And if you come up here, I'll pray with you. You get you even more blessed than you ever were before. And then tomorrow, you'll be more blessed than you were today. And then so on and so on. I forgot what tomorrow was, so I didn't know what the next day was. So don't judge me. Hey, listen, I don't know if we talked about it last week when I opened up the service, but we kind of started last week. And if you remember, we talked about the subject of getting ready on the road, how God wants to move us so he can use us. If we're not willing to move, then God may not, we might not be being used the way we want to be used. But that message right there was actually the first part of a series that we jumped into. And with the holidays and with welcoming people like my mother that was here and all that, it just got away, and I didn't introduce it as a series, I don't believe. So that's what we're doing. So now we're going to jump into the second part of the series. The series is called Road Rules. It's rules that we need to abide by and live by to get through everyday life, our everyday journey with Jesus. You have to have some rules in your life. And so today we're going to jump into the second part of that. We're going to look at Luke chapter 10. If you pay attention, class, then you'll realize just a couple weeks ago we were also in Luke chapter 10, but today is going to be a different part of Luke chapter 10, so don't sit there and think he just did this last week, because I didn't do this last week. I'm going to do this week. And yes, I did have a little bit of caffeine, but it's none of your business. So moving on forward, Luke chapter 10. It's not his fault. It's not. It's my fault. I did it at home. Because we got one of them new Keurig things, and like most of the things that we could get were caffeinated. So like I just got to take what we got. And I'm not drinking the gross coffee, like the pumpkin stuff, and I'm not drinking the chai tea. Because who drinks chai tea? What is chai? No one asked you. What is chai tea? Chai tea? What kind of ridiculousness? No. Coffee or sweet tea. That's it. Right, Ashley? Come on, y'all. All right. Luke chapter 10. You guys are probably already there. I'm not even there. I'm too busy talking to you guys because I love talking to you guys because you guys are friends, my family. Luke chapter 10. Are you ready? We're going to start at verse 25, and we're going to go down to about 35. Maybe we'll throw in 36, 37. We're going to read a few verses today together as a family. Luke 10:25. Now what you have is Jesus teaching and telling people about love and telling people about all these things, and you get this one guy who's a lawyer, and he wants to find a way to be exempted from love. He doesn't want to have to love people. He doesn't want to have to love his neighbor. He doesn't want to have to love. So he asked Jesus these questions, this one question. So we'll pick it up in verse 25. And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tested him, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And he said to him, What is written in the law? What is your reading of it? And so he answered and said, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, You have answered rightly. Do this and you will live. But he, wanting to justify himself, said to Jesus, And who is my neighbor? It's easy to say to love your neighbor, but it's real difficult when you're not sure who your neighbor is. Who is my neighbor? And Jesus answered and said, A certain man, a specific man, went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, who stripped him of his clothing, wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a certain priest came down the road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite, when he arrived at this place, came and looked and passed by him on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, the people that the Jews hated, the people that they didn't see as legitimate human beings, the people that they struggled with their racism towards, a certain Samaritan looked past all that as he journeyed and came where he was and saw him and said, and he had compassion on him. So he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine, and he set on him his own animal and brought him to the inn and took care of him. On the next day when he departed, he took 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper and said, Take care of him. See, God doesn't just want us to house people. He wants us to care for people. It's not just enough to open the door and say, Come in. Are we caring for the people that are coming in when they come in? Take care of him, and whatever you spend, I will come again and repay you. So which of these do you think that was a neighbor to him who fell amongst thieves? And he said, He who showed mercy on him. And then Jesus said, Go and do likewise. Go and do likewise. Out of all that, there's one thing that I want to talk about today, and it's just one word in one verse. So we read all that just to get one word in one verse, but I think it's important to give you the context of the story. In verse 30, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell amongst thieves. He fell. Everybody's going to fall every now and then. And so as we jump into part 2 of the Road Rules series, I want to look at road hazards. I want to talk about road hazards, the things that get in our way on our journey with Jesus, the things that get in the way on our road of life, the things that mess us up and cause us issues is what I want to look at today. Pray with me. Father, we thank you. We honor you. We love you. We give this service to you. God, anoint me to speak your word as only you can enable me. And bless this church, not just this church, God, but bless every church in this community, every church in this city who would stand and proclaim Jesus as their Lord and Savior, who knows exactly where their salvation comes from. God, pour your Spirit into every church from the biggest to the smallest, those who are standing on your word today. God, bless us in Jesus' name. Amen. So today I want to talk to you guys about the hazards that we face on the road. If you were here last week, you understood that I hate to drive. It's not my favorite thing to do. In fact, I might have went on a little bit of a rant about it because I hate it that much. It's just terrible. I think it's a terrible thing to do, and I never want to do it again in my life. So I'm going to continue that because this to me, I get to use it like a little therapy session. So you guys are my counselors, and I am your patient. And so when I give you my issues, you gotta just kind of look at me and just say, you know what we say down south where I come from, y'all, we say, bless his heart. Basically what that means is you're an idiot. And you can say whatever you want about anybody as long as you say bless your heart afterwards. That's what my mother-in-law taught me. She'd be like, oh, look at that fat little poor baby. He can't even breathe. His neck is so big. He's just, look, bless his heart. Yeah, you can say anything you want about somebody as long as you say bless their heart after. Because that somehow that eliminates the negativity. It's just like, that dude is so ugly, bless his heart. Oh, my God. I know I heard one of you guys say it while I was up here. So, no, I'm just joking. I'm just playing. I mean, you just proclaimed your guilt right there. You were like, what? It was just a joke. Let me give you this statement. The fall isn't final in your life. The fall is not final. We hit falls and we think that it's over for us. We think that there's nothing else we can do. We can never get up from here because we've fallen, and we've fallen in such a hard way. The fall is not final in our life. And so if I go back to the road trip scenario and I get my therapy out, there was a few years ago, we decided we were going to go to Thanksgiving at my mother and father-in-law's house who lived right outside of New Orleans. And so we were going to get in the car. We were going to drive from Orlando, go to New Orleans, and we went over there, and it was going to be great. We were going to have turkey because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because you can eat like a pig and nobody judges you. And so I love it. And so we had two cars. We had a 1998 Chevy Venture, which will still make its appearances right outside the door here from time to time. And we had a 1994 Lincoln Town Car. Yeah, I know, two very new age, luxurious cars. I know you guys are thinking, wow, you guys are rolling in the dough. We are. And so we decided on using the 1994, the older of the two, to go to New Orleans because we figured that would be more of a reliable vehicle. It was owned by some older people. They took great care of it. When we got the car from them, they gave us a thing this big of all the services that they had done on it. So we thought, this is the car for us. This is the one we're going to drive to New Orleans. And it did great. It ran fine. It was good. And we got up through I-10, and we got up to I-10, and we started going west towards, Mississippi and Alabama. I said Mississippi. I don't judge me. And we got to Alabama, and we started going. So we headed that way. And as we're going through the Florida Panhandle, what you got to understand is that there's nothing there. It is the worst drive ever in your. If you ever decide I'm going to take a drive, don't start at I-10 like in Jacksonville and decide you're going to go towards Texas because it is the worst stretch of road you'll ever drive on in your life. There's nothing there. And so that makes my love of driving even worse because there's nothing to even look at to take my mind off the fact that I'm driving. Sorry, that was your point to say, bless his heart. And so we get there, and as we get on this panhandle portion of the road, what had happened was the tire exploded. While we were on Interstate 10, the tire exploded, and we decided to pull over, and we happened to have landed in the best possible place right on the bridge of an overpass. So we're going up the overpass, our car stops rolling right there, and we're on an interstate, and all these people are whipping by us, and here we are just right on the up part of the overpass. We passed the exit. We didn't realize the tire was going to blow out. It just happened. You know, sometimes you don't realize life's going to turn. It just does it, and when it does it, you have to deal with it. But what we didn't realize was that when the tire exploded, I know that's what I was saying too. That's exactly how I felt about it. When the tire was exploded, it hit something that I never knew a car had, which is called the car jerked. I don't need you helping me tell my story. Jesus, bless her heart. So whatever happened, the car made a violent move, and it tripped a switch called the inertia switch that I never knew a car had. And so we're sitting there. We try to turn the car doesn't turn on. And so I'm thinking, well, I thought the tire just blew, but now the car won't start. And so we sit there. We're in the middle of nowhere. We got 3 grumpy kids. We barely have cell phone service. We called her mom. She was like, well, I'll send AAA. And then after a while, somebody that looked like he was fresh out of Mayberry came by in his red truck, and he pulled up, and he was like, y'all need a tow? No, dude, we're standing here taking in the sights of this random patch of woods right here. We were hoping that nobody would stop because we love it here. We're thinking about building a house right here, and we're just checking out. Yes, we need a tow, because I'm already mad I drove. So he tows us in, and I'm thinking, great, this is what we need. And so he fixes it. We get on the road, and it was less than we thought it was going to be, so it was good. Then we get going, and we get into Mississippi, and then once we get into Mississippi, the car starts going like this. And I thought it better not happen again. I said, pull over. She pulled over, and I reached my hand around the tires, and everything was good. I checked everything I could. I got to the front tire, and I reached my hand around, and the metal from the belt from the tire was poking out so hard, it stuck right into my finger, bless his heart, which automatically made me angry. And I said, the tire is about to pop again, which meant I was about to pop, because if one more bad thing happens on this trip, I'm going to lose my mind. And so we get going. We find the little spot that there was like 75 cars at, and I was like, can you just please change my tire? We're already on a 12-hour road trip. We're in the middle of nowhere. We don't know nothing. There's no restaurants here because you people live in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know how you live here. Can you please change my tire so we can go? And we finally got the tire changed, and we left, and we went on, and we went there, and we got to New Orleans, or to where they lived at, and we spent the few days, the holidays with them, and it was great, and it was such an awesome time. And then we get ready to leave, and the car was working, and everything was good. We made it home with no problem in the car, but when we were getting ready to leave, there was something wrong with the bank, and we called, and they was like, oh yeah, well, you spent $300-something at Walmart in the panhandle of Florida. I said, we did no such thing. Somebody identity thefted our card from wherever we was and went on a shopping spree in the panhandle of Florida, and I was about to lose. I was about to go over to that Walmart and just wait there and say, did you steal my stuff? Did you steal my stuff? Did you steal? And I said, you got to fix this, because we're in New Orleans, and we got to get to Orlando, and we need gas. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you said it's not your issue, I'll give you the money back. We are going to do an investigation. And if our investigation finds out this was you, you are in trouble. I said, I don't care. Do what you got to do, fix the card. And we left, and we went on home, and that was that. That is a perfect example of a road hazard. We didn't plan on all that stuff to happen. We planned on going to have a great Thanksgiving with family, to see them, to spend time with them. We went fishing. We did all these fun things with family. We didn't anticipate bumping into all these issues that we have, yet we did, and we had to deal with it. How many people understand that sometimes you travel through life minding your own business, and then road hazards happen? And there's not always signs that say move over because it's about to get tight. There's not always signs that say potholes, so you better watch where you're going because you're going to get some front end damage up here. There's not always lights telling you where to go and where not to go. There's not always things that give you the update that, hey, you're about to encounter some issues, but you go through life and it happens. And the hazards come and you got to deal with it. And you're headed to family and you bump into car trouble. And your pipe in the wall busts, and you have to go through all your savings because you have to fix something that you never knew was going to happen because the plumber didn't look at you and say, just so you know, Dustin, I'm about to explode and flood your whole kitchen, so I just want you to be prepared for that. No, the explosion comes, the water's everywhere, and you got to fix it. You got to pay for it. And you didn't anticipate it, but you got to deal with it. Could you do me a favor? There's a little towel right over there that I'm going to need momentarily because I feel like I might get going in a minute. If it's okay with y'all, I might step it up in a minute. Even if it's not okay, I'm going to do it. You didn't plan for it, but it happened. And now you're in the middle of the hazards that you never saw coming. Now you're in a place that you never planned to be. And you look at things and you think, I never thought that today I would get the phone call that my child was shot. I never thought that I would get the phone call that my wife was leaving me. I never thought that I would get the phone call that my bank account was completely depleted and everything we had saved up for our retirement is gone, and now we have to start from scratch, and I'm 65 years old. I can't work no more, but everything I've worked for in my life is gone. You don't plan for it. It happens, and you fall. But the fall is not final unless we let it be final. If we stand on our God-given authority and we say, you will not have the last victory in my life, you can take it all. You can take my money. You can take my family. You can take everything you want from me because I'm going to stand on God's promise. And I know that if they leave, it's because you have a new season for me. And what happened with that, and I don't think it's God's will for these things to happen, but I think that sometimes God allows things to happen to grow us to be what he's called us to be. And the place you're going next, you can't be having this dead weight dragging you back because God's trying to move you to a new location. God's trying to show you some new things. And so while you're trying to follow God, all this stuff is just hanging on to you and trying to pull you down and pull you down. And if you let it, you will fall. If you let it succeed, it will pull you to the ground and you will fall. And if you let it, it will hold you there. But if you trust in Jesus and you say, it doesn't matter what comes against me, I'm going to stand strong. It doesn't matter what issues I face in my life, I'm going to get past them. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. Because I might fall now, but I'm not going to stay down. I might be on the ground now, but I'm going to get back. There's some things in my life that have happened that I'm not just going to let overtake me. I'm going to focus on the love and the kindness and the guidance and the care of Jesus Christ to walk me through every single issue I face, every battle with unemployment, every time I feel the need to get back to my addiction, every time I feel the need that I don't want to be living this life no more, every time my wife gets me mad, I feel like it'd be so much easier just to walk out the door and never see her again. I'm going to keep fighting the urges that Satan tries to put against me, and I'm going to stand on Jesus, and I'm going to say, if I lose this job, I'll find another job, and if issues are happening with my wife, I'm going to work it out, and if my kids aren't acting right, I'm going to straighten them up. I'm going to do whatever I got to do because I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to let it stop. I'm never going to let the enemy defeat me. I'm never going to stay down when I get knocked down. Understand that the knockdown will come. It's hard to keep moving when all you do is stop. It's hard to keep moving. Stop being the peacemaker. No one cares anyway. Stop praying for your family. They'll never change. That's a lie from the enemy's hell, by the way. Let me tell you that, because I prayed for my family, and there was thoughts in my head. Stop praying. They ain't going to listen. They ain't going to care. They didn't grow up like this. They don't want that. They're not looking for Jesus. I don't want to hear it. I kept praying, and I pray with every last one of them. I got to lead them to Jesus, every last one of them. So I don't want to hear the lies from hell saying it's not going to happen. I don't want to hear the lies from hell saying that your marriage is falling apart and you're going to get divorced and it's all over. I don't want to hear the lies from hell that say your kids are running around the street, they're drug addicted, they're carrying on, they're acting crazy. You didn't raise them that way, but they're living that way. I don't want to just keep on praying. Just keep on doing what God's called you to do. Just keep on walking. Keep on moving, because you're on the road of life and there will be some hazards. You will have some issues. You might have to call roadside assistance every now and then, but if you keep moving, Jesus will keep working in it. He will keep going. I'm feeling good about it today, people. I'm feeling good about it. Stop fighting for freedom. You've been trapped for so long. It's normal now. It's normal now. This is your new normal. You don't have to worry about being free. You're never going to be free. You're going to be trapped and locked down as long as I let you, because you're never going to fight no more, because I've taken your fight away. You've taken the fall. You've embraced the fall. You're stuck on the road, and that's your new normal. Just give up. Freedom is gone. Freedom is never gone. You hit turbulence. I'm broken, and I don't know how to fix it. Let me explain something to you. You have made it through 100 of the issues in your life so far. Don't let this be the one thing that stops you. Don't worry about this. You've made it through everything you've gone through. It might have been a struggle, but you made it. Look, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still living. And you look back and you think, I never thought I could have made it through that. And then you're on the other side going, oh my God, I'm so much stronger because I went through that. It doesn't matter what you've been through. You've all made it through. We've all made it through. So it's not going to stop now. And if it does stop and you don't make it through, guess what? You get a reward. You get to see Jesus. So it's a win-win situation. You're broken. I'm broken. I'm broken. And I can't be fixed. It's like when you're on an airplane, and I haven't flown a whole lot, but I've flown enough, and I flew to Ecuador, which made me go over the ocean, and that was a little terrifying because I don't like being in an airplane anyway. And then I had to fly over the water, and then I fly over Cuba, and I seen all the mountains, and I just thought about the movie Alive, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And so I just kept on moving, but there's patches when you're flying that the plane hits, and the plane starts going like this. And I was there, and I was, oh my God, Jesus. Oh, no. Don't let that happen. Don't let it do it. No. And we made it, obviously, but I was freaking out because that turbulence ain't no joke. It's nothing to play with. And I was like, if the turbulence is not the plane crashing, then the heart attack is what's going to kill me, because if this keeps happening, it's going to go bad for me. And I thought about there was an elderly woman. This is not on my flight. This is a story, so don't think that I witnessed this firsthand, because I didn't. There was an elderly woman, and she was on a plane. And they were flying, and they were way up in the air, and they were going to their destination, and she didn't think nothing of being in the plane. She's flown hundreds of times before. It was nothing for her. It was not new, and so they're playing. They're flying, and all of a sudden the plane hits turbulence, and she'd been in turbulence before, so it wasn't a big issue to her. But this turbulence was different. This turbulence was real hard. Like, it started shaking things real bad. It started like the pilot fastened the seatbelt light, or whatever I just said, and all this stuff happened, and everybody was kind of freaking out because this was like a new level of turbulence that they had not seen before. And she looked down, and next to her was a young boy, and he was kneeling on the floor, and he was playing with his cars, and he was laughing and having a great old time. And the plane was shaking, and she didn't know what was going on, and she was getting real angry at this boy's happiness. She was like, what are you doing? And the kid just kept playing, and she was like, you need to stop. And the kid just kept playing. And then finally she looked at the kid, and she goes, stop it! Stop being happy! Stop having fun! Do you not feel what we're dealing with? How can you be so happy when the plane is about to crash? And he said, ma'am, there's one thing that I know. My daddy is the pilot, and we're going to be okay. You see, sometimes we let life knock us down, and we let turbulence mess us up, and we're not paying attention to the fact that your daddy is the pilot. And if you can just get to your daddy, then you know everything's going to be okay. And it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how rough the journey goes. What matters is that you know your dad is the pilot, and he's in control. And so when you're depressed, my dad is in control. And when you're stressed, my dad is in control. And when your bank account is empty and negative and it's red, and you got shut off notices coming in the mail, and you don't know what's going to happen next, my dad is in control. And it doesn't matter that you live in total fear of what is happening in your life and the transition through, and everything that you've known for the last is now empty, but my dad is in control. And it might look different now than it did 20 years ago, but don't worry about that, because see, things happen sometimes and you have to go through some hazards. But if we trust in daddy to fly the plane, and if we trust in our Father to lead this thing, then we will never come out beaten on the other side. We will come out shining. We will come out triumphant. We will come out victorious. We will see what happens is that just means that you're ready to make a comeback. Okay? And it's real hard to fight somebody who's willing to make a comeback. It's real hard to come against somebody when they say, there's nothing you can do to stop me, because I done been through it. I done been through some things, and you can't stop me now. They could stop me then, and guess what? Tomorrow ain't looking good for you either, because I'm going to keep going, because I'm making a comeback. I'm tired of the things that are trying to hold me down. I'm tired of the things that are trying to pull me back. It's not going to happen no more. The victory is over for the enemy. I am victorious. I'm going to walk in it, and I'm going to live every day, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to brush the burn and the ashes off my clothes, and I'm going to brush the dirt that I had to walk through off my clothes, and I'm going to live in victory every single day of my life. There's nothing that can stop me. If Jesus is my rock, I may fall, but just like the song said, it's not over. It's not over when God is in it. Don't count me out yet. I'm making a comeback. I'm making a comeback. You know what I thought about when I thought of that? You ever seen the movie Rocky? Yeah, Rocky had this old dude in his corner named Mickey. And Mickey was a little bit crazy. Like, I think everybody needs a Mickey in their life. Because Mickey wouldn't they loved each other, and Mickey was great. But like when Rocky fell down, he wasn't like, get up, champ. He was like, get up, you bum. He's sitting over there laughing at you, you bum, get up. And I thought, well, dang, Mickey, that ain't really how you should encourage your fighter. You bum. That's what we called him all the time. He's just a bum. Get up, bum. Get up, Rocky. Get up, Rock. And I thought, man, everybody needs a Mickey. Somebody who's not going to care about your feelings all the time. Somebody's going to tell you just how it is. Somebody's going to say, yeah, okay, you fell, but get down. Nobody's impressed with the fact that everybody falls. What matters is how you get back up. If you fall, you fall. Everybody can fall. It's easy to fall. The hard part is getting back up. Are you going to sit there and let that joker swing at you like that? Are you going to sit there and let him knock you to the ground and not get up off that mat and fight back? Get up, Rocky. Get up, Danita. Get up, Wendy. Get up, Jerry. Don't just sit there and let the enemy have his way with you. Fight back. Fight back. You give people victory. Nobody's taking victory from me. You understand this, that if I lose, I'm losing because I fought with 150,000% of everything that's in me, and they were just better off. I'm not giving anybody a win. I'm too competitive for that. I'm not letting anybody have the W. You walk up on me in any kind of way you want to, and we're going to do this thing. Like the enemy wants to come at me and say, you'll never be successful. You'll never be successful. I'm already successful. I got a family that loves me. I got people that I'm able to share God's word with. I got a wife that cares about me. I got kids that look up to me. I don't care what you say. Swing all you want to. I'm already successful. Oh, you'll never be happy. I'm already happy. Oh, your marriage will never work out. It's already worked out. And if you take it now, all that means is God's moving me into a fresh new season. And he knows that there's some things on me that are going to hold me back from what God is trying to do. And God's trying to remove those things from me. Have you ever been someplace or been around somebody and you realize they weren't just good for your life, and you're trying to fight for Jesus, and you're trying to live this thing, and you're trying to do this thing, and they're just trying to hold you back and say, you can't do it. You can't be successful. You got another thing coming because I'm about to put on these boxing gloves and we're going to go at it. You ain't winning. You ain't beating me. You're not going to be victorious in here. Satan has no weapons that can come against me, because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Greater is he that is in me than he that is fighting against me. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody does. You can take what you want from me because God's just moving me into a new season. You see, snakes, I don't like them, but I know a few things about them because where I'm from, they're everywhere. And it's disgusting, and I hate it, and I'm scared to go outside, but it's okay. I'm not there no more. So praise Jesus. Bless his heart. But what they do is they shed their skin. And so in the process of shedding their skin, what they're doing is they're taking that old, nasty, hard, rotted skin off of them, and they're getting a fresh new skin underneath them. And so to me, what I think about is God is trying to pull that stuff off of you that's been holding you down. And sometimes it looks like something that we need. Sometimes what God's trying to remove from you looks like something that you have to have. Sometimes it looks like, well, this is just what my life has become, God. This is my life. And God's saying, no, but I'm going to pull it away from you. And see, the part about snakes, what I didn't know, and then I found out later on in life, was that they don't just shed. It doesn't just come off. They have to rub themselves against rocks and hard stuff, and they have to put themselves against trees, and they have to pull that stuff off. So sometimes God's going to brush you up against some harder spots. He's going to knock you into some cliffs and some rocks, and he's going to say, listen, I understand it might not feel good now, but I'm taking all that old stuff off of you. I'm taking that old life that you used to live off of you. I'm taking those relationships that you thought you could never live without. I'm going to take them away from you, and you're going to see that your life is not only going to be functional without them, it's going to be better without them. And so we're going to keep on moving, and we're going to keep on doing the things that we have to do because I'm making something new inside. I'm changing who you are. I'm changing everything that you are. And it's going to be hard, and you'll have your tough times. And you'll cry, and you'll cry yourself to sleep. And you'll look back and think, well, if I work real hard, I could get it back. But understand that I'm taking it away for a reason. I don't want you to have it back. If I wanted you to have it back, I wouldn't have took it in the first place. And so I know it's going to be tough, but we have to understand that weeping endures for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And so we think about that, and we think, if I'm sad right now, it's okay because joy is coming in the morning, and my victory is coming in the morning. I might be losing now, but the war's not over yet. And the things that are going on in my life, while they kind of suck right now, excuse me if that was a little harsh, but if it suck right now, it's going to get better because joy is coming in the morning. And I'm not going to sit here and allow myself to be knocked down and allow myself to be beat up, because there's things that are going to happen inside of me that are only going to be the cause of God working in my life. It's only going to be because God is living in me. He's removing things from me. He's changing things in me. He's making me different. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it past the introduction of the message. And that's not a joke. Now, we can get to the story. And this is where we pick the story up. And when people talk about this story, they want to talk about who didn't stop. They want to talk about the priest that didn't stop, and he represents the pastor, and how the pastor sometimes is going to let you down. Well, it's all right. Sometimes pastors let you down. If your focus is all on your pastor, then your focus is on the wrong one. Or they talk about the Levite, who represents the church, the body of Christ, and the Levite didn't stop. And if the Levite didn't stop, it shows that the church is going to let you down. Let me let you in on a little secret. The church will let you down. At one point or another, the church will let you down. It's not about do you get let down. It's about how do we get back up. Getting down is easy. Getting up is hard. And so both are important, and maybe we'll review them one other day, but today is not the day. What I want to focus on is not so much who passed him, but the fact that he fell. He fell, and he got back up. See, you can fall, and people will see you fall, and then they'll say, well, maybe he likes it like that. Maybe he chose that for his life. And another thing about the fall is that while these people walked away, see, we give these guys such a bad name because they just walked away, but I think that God would say to us, sometimes you have to know when to walk away. Sometimes you have to know when to walk away. Sometimes you have to know that's it. We're done there. And so it's not just the fact that I can stand here and I can get up from the fall, but sometimes we have to know when to separate ourselves from some people. Sometimes we need to know that these relationships are not for our good. These relationships are for our detriment. They're going to harm us. They're not going to help us. They're not going to bless us. They're going to put us further down. And so sometimes we have to know when to step away. But Jesus is telling the story, and what I know about Jesus is when Jesus is there, there's always an option to get up. When Jesus is telling your story, there's always an option to get up. You never have to stay down beaten and bloody on the ground of life. You never have to deal with the fact that the road hazards are just trying to hurt you. When Jesus is in control, every single person has the chance to get up. The only way that the fall is final is when we let it be final. So let me give you 3 ways that we can make sure the fall isn't final. 3 ways, 3 things that we can do to make sure the fall that we face is not final in our life. First of all, we have to endure the fall. Verse 30 says, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves who stripped him and beat him and left him wounded. Understand this. He endured the fall because he knew the fall was coming. The road from Jerusalem to Jericho was a long road. It was a winding road. There was no lights. It was dark. And at nighttime, when people would walk down there, robbers were known. It was known that robbers would hide in the bushes and wait for people to come down so they could jump out and take you. So he didn't go into this thing thinking, I'm going to make it. It's going to be all good. It's a perilous road. And he knew that if you walk down this road, there's going to be some issues. There's a chance you could really face it. And it's no different in our life. When you sign up and you say, I'm going to be a Christian, I am going to live for Jesus, understand that you have an enemy who's hiding in the dark places of your life, and he's waiting to jump out and pounce on you. He's waiting to steal from you. He's waiting to strip you of your happiness. He's waiting to steal your joy. He's waiting to beat you up and leave you half dead, laying on the road of life. And if you let him, then it will be the finality of your days. But if you acknowledge the fact that it will happen and don't avoid it, you know, drug and alcohol abusers, they get so hooked on it because they think when I'm in that place, I'm doing that drug or I'm drinking that alcohol, and the effect taken over, I forget about my pain, I forget about my road hazards, I forget about my fall, I forget about my struggles, only to realize that when it wears off and they wake up, it's right there looking at them right in the face. And like you wake up the next morning, your problems are right there like, morning sunshine. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. But then there's Jesus. And Jesus can take you higher than any drug, and Jesus can get you happier than any alcohol, and Jesus can pick you up when you fall down, and Jesus can do everything in your life that you thought was over and impossible, and there's no way it can be fixed, but then you put Jesus in the middle of the situation, and you say it's all going to work out because Jesus is in control. We were not made to be victims. We were made to be victorious. We were made to be winners. We were made to be champions. And it won't be easy, but we win. And it won't always be pretty, but I'll take an ugly loss over a pretty win. And sometimes we'll struggle, but we're going to win. And sometimes it's going to be, painful, and we're not going to want to fight. But if we fight, we'll win. The best way to know you're losing is that you're not even getting in the ring. But if you get in the ring and you stand up, you don't have to be the best fighter. Just stand there and let God work. Just put your hands up, because sometimes all you got to do is block. You can't throw no punches. You can't be aggressive. But if you just stand there and block, God will be everything you need him to be, and he will pull you out. So it's not over when Jesus is in your corner. It's not over when God fights for us. Second thing, if I can flip this paper, about to get a paper cut. The second thing that we can do to make sure the fall isn't final is evaluate. We have to evaluate the situation. Verses 31 through 33, we see evaluation. We see that these people all looked at this guy on the side of the road and they said, should I help him or should I not? And the first two people, the people that were supposed to help him according to what Jesus' audience were thinking, these are church folks. They're supposed to be the ones who go reach out a helping hand. These people passed by. They evaluated the situation and they said, it's just not for me. And we have to evaluate what we're doing. That shows you that sometimes when you fall, the people you thought you could trust are not the people you can count on. Sometimes when you fall, it's the people you think you can count on that are the ones letting you sit there the longest. And you thought, well, your family, I thought you would be there for me. Well, I went by on the other side of the road. Well, you've been my pastor for 20 years. I thought you would be here for me. But I passed by on the other side of the road. But sometimes it's the people that you don't even expect to help that are right there to pick you up and right there to show you the love that you need to have. And so, yes, they should be there. But ultimately, it's a different story because, yes, these people should be there, but it's Jesus who saved my life. It's Jesus who healed my pain. It's Jesus who covered up my shame. It's Jesus who does everything in my life. It's Jesus who fixes me. It's Jesus who walks with me. It's Jesus who keeps me going every day. But instead, it was a Samaritan, and the crowd was probably disgusted with this point. And people walk around this city, our city, the city that we're making an impact in, the city that we're here to change, the city that God has put us in for such a time as this. There's people in our city that say there's no love left. And if there's no love out there, then shame on us in here. Because if we're not carrying God's love with us everywhere we go, and we're not saying, I know I'm going through a rough time, I know I'm dealing with some stuff, but this is what holds me up. If we're not showing this to the people out there, then shame on us. We're not we're not evaluating the situation properly. We're not looking at the city that we live in and saying, my heart is broken because they're so far away from God's love. But instead we just say, oh, there's no love? I'm sorry to hear that. I'll pray for you. And we never extend that love. There's no love? Well, let me show you God's love. Let me be the person to help out a family with some Christmas gifts. Something so easy. Let me show you a little bit of God's love. Oh, you need something to eat for a Christmas dinner? Let me put a little bit of money in here so you can get you a ham or something. Let me do something so that you can eat this. There's no love because we don't show love. There's hundreds of churches out there that are walking by every day that are just happy to have people come in and sit in their service, but they're not showing love. And if there's no love, it's because we're not bringing it outside the doors. Amen. If there's a fall in the world, it's because we're not showing them how to get up. I can't expect the world to act like the church, but I can expect the church to act like the church. Can't expect us to show Jesus. The last thing that I want to talk about is we have to evict the enemy. We have to evict the attacks that are against us. We have to evict them because there's so much more going on that we're we're not really ready for. There's so much more going on in our lives, and we allow the enemy to come in and to live in our house for free. We allow him to not pay rent. We give him a fresh room with a new bed and a new mattress and a new pillow, and we say, are you comfortable? Because I need you to do everything you need to do. I need you to be comfortable. And we allow the enemy to live in our hearts, and we make a home for him. And we allow him to live in our minds, and we make a home for him there. And we give him free will. We give him a key that he can come in and go as he pleases. We put no limits on him, put no curfew on him. He lives and breathes and exists in our life all the time. And he's right there to whisper in your ear, your life is over. Your life is done. You thought that you were going to win? Oh, no. No, I'm too strong for you. I'm too strong for you. That's what Satan tells you. Them people don't care about you. Them people don't love you. Oh, you thought they were going to be there for the rest of your life. Oh, they don't even like you. You thought that church wanted you to come there? They just want you to get out your wallet. Oh, you thought the pastor cared when he said he cared about people. No, he doesn't care. And all the time you let it fill your head. You let it beat you up. You let it live in your house. And then you make it comfortable. You make it comfortable. Oh, you let the lies get comfortable. Oh, do you need something to eat? Can I nourish you? Can I fill you up? Can I make sure that you're happy in my heart, enemy? Can I make sure that everything you have you need? Can I feed you the things that, instead of throwing you out of here, can I make sure you're taken care of and comfortable and have a place to eat? Can I give you everything that you need to make sure my life is miserable from now on? And we just let them live there. And we don't kick them out. But in verse 18 of Luke chapter 10, it's not part of our story, but I think it's very important to our story. Verse 18, Jesus is telling a story to them, and he said this. He said, I saw Satan fall. I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. It means you have to get him out lightning fast. You have to get him out quick, because eventually you're going to let him sit in your heaven. You're going to let him sit in your mind. You're going to let him sit in your heart, and he's going to start to take over. He's going to say, put myself on the throne of God. I will be like the Most High. I will be everything to you that you can't be. I will be your happiness. You don't need them. All you need is to drink this. All you need is to sniff that. All you need is to find your identity in your marriage. All you need is to find who you are in your children. That's all you need. Don't worry about Jesus. I'm going to keep you right where you need to be. And he says all these things, and we let him live there. But Jesus said, I saw Satan fall from like lightning from heaven. I seen him fall. He wasn't good enough to stand in God's presence, and if God is living in us, he's not good enough to stand in our presence. Stop giving him the victory that is not his. Stop letting him live rent-free in your heart, rent-free in your mind, and kick him out and say, this is not your home no more. Change the locks. Get a new key. This is not your home anymore. You can't live here anymore, Satan. Because see, Satan had a job in heaven. People think he's just a mad, evil, mean devil, but he was actually a created being. The name Lucifer is actually one of the most beautiful names that you could have ever had. He was talented. He could sing. He could make any instrument in his throat. He was in charge of the worship of heaven. He was in charge of the worship of heaven. The very thing that we were created to do is because he was kicked out of heaven, and we are to be worshipers. If we do not cry out, the rocks will cry out. And he kicked them out of heaven. And a job opening came available. And when I was about 20 years old, I went in there dirty. And I went into the office and I talked to Jesus and I said, sir, I'm not good enough for this job. I don't look the part for this job. Matter of fact, when people see me, sometimes they turn around and walk away like the priest and the Levite. And I don't have a good resume. My resume is kind of like the Apostle Paul. But God, I'll give it to you. And if you can use me, please do. And I think Jesus took my resume and he said, you are not qualified. You're not good enough. But because of what Jesus did, I'm going to give you the job. See, when we go to God with our broke resume, when we go to God with our hurt, with our pain, and He looks at us and we say, God, all I want to do is worship. All I want to do is fill the place of the enemy that you kicked out. And I've got him out of my mind. I've got him out of my head, and he's gone. And God, all I need is you to fill those places. And here's my resume. Here's what I can do for you. God says, nothing that you can do for me is good enough. But because you accepted Jesus, you have life, not just here, but you have life forever. You have life eternally. You will never be a victim again. You will never lose again. Don't mistake going through issues with losing. Don't mistake that. Don't get it twisted, because God said you will never lose. He didn't say you wouldn't. He didn't say you wouldn't have road hazards. He said you'll never lose. So when the job opening came up, I was right there. And I'm sure for most, maybe all of you in this room, when the job opening came up, you were right there to say, Jesus, it's me. And when the pastor of the church you were at announced, the job opening is ready, you said, that's me. I want to come to the front and I want to give myself to Jesus because I want to be the worshiper that He created me to be. And I want to get up from this fallen position and I want to focus on Jesus every single day. Am I going to do it perfectly? No. But I'm going to do it. We pick up where worship left off when he fell. When his arrogance kicked him out of heaven, God said, I need somebody to fill this spot. I need somebody that's not going to focus. Listen, I told you this before. I'll tell you it again as we wind it down for real this time. There's no other people on the planet Earth. I love my brother. I love my mother. There is no other person on this planet that I love more than her and those 3 kids. None. I'm sorry. If that disqualifies me, if that makes me not eligible to serve anymore, then I hope you liked my last message, because there is nobody that I love more than them. And I would give everything for them. But what I will not give them is my worship. It's the one thing that I will not give them is God's place. And we got to stop giving people God's place. We got to stop giving our fall God's place. We got to stop giving our losses God's place. And we got to put Him right where He belongs. Let's pray. God, thank you for your word today. God, thank you for touching hearts. Thank you for being in this place. So, Father, I pray right now that as we go through life, and maybe we're in a fall right now, maybe we're in a struggle right now and we don't understand where it's coming from, God, I pray that you would be in our corner shouting at us to get up. Not worrying about if it hurts our feelings or if it's what we want to hear, but God, that we would hear your word expressly and that we would get up and start living victorious. I feel like there's just such an awesome Spirit of God that's just resting over us right now. And I just want to take a couple minutes. I know I went past. I always go past. Y'all are used to that. But I just want to take a couple minutes and just rest in this presence that God has given us. And I want to focus on the fact that the fall is not final. That we are winners. God, speak to our heart. Do not let us be bashful or ashamed when it comes to the things that you are doing in our life. Let us acknowledge them. Let us endure them. Let us embrace them. Let us do everything that we have to do. Let us evaluate our situation. And most importantly, God, let us evict the enemy from our heart. He cannot live there.